Welcome to the California Redistricting Basics presentation. Within this educational session, we will be covering some of the key aspects of districting that you need to know about. If you have any further questions, please visit our website at wedrawthelineca.org. What is redistricting?
We are trying really hard to make redistricting exciting, but it can be rather challenging. Redistricting is defined as drawing and redrawing new boundaries that determine which Californians are represented by each elected official.
Why we redraw district maps?
You might be wondering why we have to change district lines every 10 years. Well, a lot can change in 10 years. Over time, communities often change in their priorities, needs, and interests. People are born, they die. Some people move within the state, some people move into California or out of California. Some communities grow and others shrink. And areas that were roughly equal in size become unequal over time. These are some of the reasons districts need to be redrawn. As populations and communities change, districts need to be updated to reflect those changes.
Your voice.
One of the greatest powers that the people of California have is to elect their own representatives to conduct the business of their government. How the district boundaries are configured can make the difference between empowering and maximizing the voter's voice or minimizing and muting those voices. In most other states, politicians redraw districts and often end up drawing, quote, safe districts for themselves to allow them to stay in office. Redistricting has been used at times to exclude communities from political power, but by fully participating in and monitoring the upcoming redistricting process, more communities may have the opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Speaking up about your community is critical to help keep your community whole to the extent possible. This ensures that your voice is heard by your elected leaders when making decisions such as the quality and funding of your child's education or determining your tax rate. Your input is valuable in shaping the new political boundaries.
How redistricting affects you.
Every Californian is impacted by redistricting. As such, it's helpful to break down how redistricting affects you directly. Power to the people. The Voters' First Act was historic in California. In 2008, Californians voted to have an independent commission draw the lines instead of the legislatures. It transferred the power of drawing district maps away from the politicians and into the hands of the people. Championing your issues. Having the opportunity to elect representatives that advocate for your issues is important in a state like California, where issues can vary drastically from one street to the next. Northern California might champion environmental and economic issues, while Central California might champion water and agricultural issues. And Southern California might champion issues dealing with transportation, housing, and employment. Funding priorities. Tied to the issue of electing representatives that champion your issues, you might want to elect representatives that have your financial interests at heart. When the time comes to build a budget, you will want a representative fighting to ensure your community gets the financial resources it deserves for various services such as education, transportation, water, and fire protection. Community boundaries. The redistricting process is all about drawing lines and determining which communities get grouped into districts. Your input in this process is essential to help the commissioners understand where your community starts and ends. Your community priorities can be very different from your neighboring community. Who better to tell us where your boundaries are than you? Redistricting in California is one of the few civic activities that any Californian can provide input to regarding their community that ultimately impacts the law and regulations, tax structure, how funding is distributed, and which services are provided. Redistricting impacts and affects everyone. Californians voted to have your voice heard, so here's your chance to let us hear your voice.
Road to fair representation.
The U.S. Constitution requires that every American receive as close to equal representation as possible in government. As populations of districts change over time, it can leave some people overrepresented and others unrepresented in government. Redistricting evens out the population between districts. After the federal government publishes updated census information, California must redraw the boundaries of its congressional, state senate, state assembly, and state board of equalization districts so that the districts correctly reflect the latest count of the state's population. Redistricting is based on the idea that each of our voices should be represented fairly by creating districts that have the same number of people. Census results are used to draw new maps every 10 years to account for the ways that populations have changed and moved across the state and districts. At the federal level, reapportionment takes place to reallocate U.S. House seats among the states. This too is done after each national census to ensure that seats are held by the states in proportion to the size of their population. California currently has 53 House seats. That may change after we get the updated census numbers. Historically, legislatures have drawn maps that allow them to choose their voters rather than enabling voters to choose their representatives. This former system undermines the concept of fair representation, which is to give people the power to choose their representatives.
Why independent redistricting matters.
We have talked about how redistricting affects you, and now we will explain why independent redistricting matters. Democracy depends on voters having the opportunity to choose their representatives. When elected officials redraw the lines of their own districts, they get to design their own territory and choose who their voters are. This slide highlights key terms in redistricting to help you understand why it's important to delegate the power of redistricting to the people. Gerrymandering happens when the election district boundaries are drawn in a way that gives a particular set of people, like a political party or a racial group, an unfair political advantage over another. This graph shows how, in a jurisdiction with 50 people, 60% orange and 40% purple, 5 districts can be drawn in multiple ways. But it's not always fair. The first 2 examples show 2 ways to draw district lines in a fair manner, where the districts are drawn to reflect the population. The 2 examples on the far right show ways to draw district maps in a manner that does not reflect the population, which is called gerrymandering. This is why independent commissions, like the California Redistricting Commission, were created to remove the politics from the process and focus onto the people.
6 line drawing criteria by order.
When the California Commission creates the district maps by drawing the district lines, are there rules that we must follow? Yes, there are 6 weighted rules or criteria that we must follow, and these criteria must be followed in order. The criteria are: number 1, equal population. Districts must be of nearly equal population to comply with the United States Constitution. We get this population numbers from the 10-year census data. Number 2, the Voting Rights Act. Districts must comply with the Voting Rights Act to ensure that minorities have a fair opportunity to elect representatives of their choice. Number 3, contiguity. Districts must be drawn so that all parts of the district are connected to each other. The only exception to this are islands, which are added to the closest land areas. Number 4, communities of interest. Districts must minimize the division of cities, counties, neighborhoods, and communities of interest to the extent possible. This is where the Commission needs your participation. Communities of interest, neighborhoods, cities, and counties are all equally important in the process. The Commission has the maps of the cities and counties and some of the neighborhoods, but without your input, we do not have your communities. Your piece of the puzzle would be missing. We do not want you to be missing from the process. Number 5, geographically compact. This criteria refers to population density, not the shape. Districts should be geographically compact such that nearby areas of population are not bypassed for more distant populations. Please remember that just because a district has an odd shape does not mean that it does not comply with the rules. City boundaries are often very irregular in shape. Number 6, where practicable, each Senate district should be comprised of 2 complete and adjacent assembly districts. Board of Equalization districts should be comprised of 10 complete and adjacent state Senate districts. In addition, The place of residence of any incumbent or political candidate may not be considered in the creation of a map, and districts may not be drawn for the purpose of favoring or discriminating against an incumbent political candidate or a political party. These rules or criteria are the must be followed in creating district maps.
Different redistricting efforts.
Over the next couple of years, there will be several redistricting efforts taking place in the state. This commission is responsible for drawing new district lines for state Senate, state Assembly, State Board of Equalization, and Congress. But beyond that, a number of the 58 counties in California will be drawing new districts for the Board of Supervisors. A number of the cities will be drawing new districts for the City Council. And in addition to that, there are water districts, school districts, and community college districts that will be drawing new district lines. My fellow commissioners and I encourage you not only to provide input into our process, but to engage and provide input into your local processes too. Because only by engagement and input can we all ensure that the new districts that are drawn truly represent the will of the people of California.
History.
In most states, the legislature retains the power to draw the lines for redistricting purposes. Prior to 2010, legislators in California also drew the lines. And if the legislature failed to properly draw those lines, the courts had to step in and redraw them. In 2008, however, California voters passed Prop 11, the Voters First Act, authorizing the creation of an independent commission to draw new district lines for the state Senate, state Assembly, and the Board of Equalization. In 2010, Prop 20, the Voters First Act for Congress, added the responsibility of drawing congressional districts to the commission. Our goal as a commission is to spread the word that the people's role did not end with being counted in the census, and to collect valuable community input to assist us in the process of drawing new districts. The 2010 Redistricting Commission was California's first independent commission. The 2020 Redistricting Commission is building upon that work and will leave behind detailed documents to assist the 2030 Commission when they perform their duties. Other states with independent commissions include Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Michigan, Montana, and Washington.
Commissioner selection.
The commissioners all went through a rigorous application process that attracted over 20,000 applicants in 2019. After an initial review, over 2,000 individuals completed a supplemental application, including essay questions and additional information. After a very thorough and public review, the applicant review panel selected 120 applicants, that's 40 Democrats, 40 Republicans, and 40 others, to interview with them. And out of that pool of 120, the applicant review panel chose 60, 20 Democrats, 20 Republicans, and 20 others to present to the legislature. At that point, the legislature was allowed to remove up to 24 candidates, 8 from each pool, from consideration, leaving a total of 36. The first 8 members, 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 2 others, were selected through a public drawing in July 2020. And after that, the final 6 members, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 2 others, were carefully selected by the first 8 commissioners in August, taking into account a number of considerations, including political party, geography, race, gender, and expertise.
Meet the commissioners.
Hi, my name is Isra Ahmad, and I'm from San Jose, California, and I'm registered as a no party preference.
Hi, everyone. My name is Linda Akutagawa, and I'm one of 14 commissioners on the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. I'm from Huntington Beach, California, and I am an independent or no party preference.
Hello, I'm Jane Andersen. I live in Berkeley, California, and I'm a registered Republican.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Fernández. I'm from Clarksburg, California, and I'm registered Republican.
My name is Neal Fornaciari. I'm a Republican from Tracy.
Hi, my name is Ray Kennedy. I'm in Morongo Valley, San Bernardino County, and I am one of the Democratic members of the 2020 Citizens Redistricting Commission.
Hi, I'm Antonio Lamons, a resident of Studio City, and I'm registered as a non-party affiliate.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara Sadhwani. I live in La Cañada, Flint Ridge, California, and I'm a registered Democrat.
I'm Patricia Sinay from Encinitas, California, and I'm a Democrat.
My name is Derric Taylor. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and my party preference is Republican.
Hi, my name is Pedro Toledo. I am from Petaluma, California, and I'm no party preference commissioner.
Hi, I'm Pastor Trena Turner. I'm a Democrat living in Stockton, located in the beautiful San Joaquin Central Valley.
Hi, I'm Angela Vázquez. I am from Los Angeles, and I am a Democrat.
Hi, Russell Yee, Oakland, Republican Party.
Commissioner duties.
After the education sessions, the commission will hold public meetings and accept public input to assist in drawing the new electoral maps. The commission will draw maps for 4 different government bodies. California is the largest state in the country with nearly 40 million residents. Congressional districts are distributed at the national level based on population, which means in California, we will be drawing more than 50 congressional districts. In addition, the commission is tasked with drawing 80 state assembly, 40 state senate, and 4 board of equalization seats. The number of those seats will stay the same. So you can see in the figures here that each district type will have a different population threshold, with the Board of Equalization having roughly 9 million people and state assembly districts being the smallest at about 450,000 people. Each of these districts will need to have roughly equal numbers of people in them, but how the lines are drawn will have a significant impact on a community's ability to elect their candidate of choice. So we've used here Sacramento as a format to give you an example of what the maps could look like.
From February to May, we are conducting these redistricting basics presentations to educate the public about the redistricting process. We have divided the state into 11 outreach zones to better manage our outreach efforts and to build relationships with community groups. We are more than happy to set up a redistricting basics presentation with any group that requests one. Communities of interest.
When drawing maps, we have to be mindful of communities of interest. We obtain the city and county information, but we need communities of interest information from Californians. Communities of interest are defined as a concentrated population which shares common social economic interests that should be included within a single district for the purpose of its effective and fair representation. We want to know where are the communities with who you live, work, study, and play that should stay together when it comes to political representation. Examples include areas in which the people share similar living standards, have similar cultures, use the same transportation facilities, have similar work opportunities, or have access to the same media. People can belong to more than one community of interest. Keep in mind that a community of interest is not the same as a district, but communities of interest are key building blocks of districts. Some ways to describe your community include geographic, meaning waterways, rural, urban, mountains, boundaries, meaning cities, towns, counties, school areas, and things you have in common.
Communities of interest can be described by creating maps and telling us about your community. While there are no clear rules on how to define a community of interest, the following are the basic elements to help you define your communities. Oral testimony. Personal stories are powerful. Share examples of what the people of your community have in common and what makes your community unique. This can be done at commission meetings or hearings. Written testimony. A written description can be used to tell your community's story. Describe what connects the people and why it's important that they be kept together during redistricting. Community issues. Communities often get involved in redistricting because they feel their issues have not been adequately addressed by their elected representatives. Highlighting community issues and personal stories in written narratives helps demonstrate the importance of having elected officials who understand and respond to community needs. Boundary maps. Create a map of your neighborhood or area. Mark the street names and significant locations. You can include significant landmarks and gathering places, including social service agencies, community centers, shopping districts, schools, and religious places. It may be helpful to have or create a name for your community area to be a reminder about what makes your community unique. Participating in the process.
Your input is vital to the success of the commission. We've identified the ways you can participate in 3 simple steps. First, describe your community. That's right, tell us a little bit about your community. What are your shared interests? What brings you together? What's important to your community? Are there nearby areas that you want to be in a district with? Nearby areas that you don't want to be in a district with? Tell us why or why not. Next, draw your community on a map or send your testimony directly to the commission. All this can be done by using an online tool that allows you to describe, draw, and send your input to the commission by visiting drawmycaliforniacommunity.org. Again, you can visit us at drawmycacommunity.org.
Ways to provide public input.
You can provide public input to the commission in several ways, including submitting your input through our new Communities of Interest mapping tool by visiting our website at wedrawthelineca.org. Or you can email us, or you can send us a letter by mail through the U.S. Postal Service.
Language access is very important to the commissioners. We have taken several steps to ensure more Californians will be able to participate in the process. We will have our fact sheet, flyer, FAQs, and redistricting basics presentation in a multitude of languages, and may provide interpretation services for the public comment sections of CRC business meetings if provided with 5 days advance notice. Written public input can be sent to the CRC in any format and language and will be translated into English. If you need an interpreter to provide input during a meeting, we ask that you notify the Commission 5 business days prior to a meeting to request interpreter services. COVID-19 has delayed many things, including our ability to access census data to help us draw district maps. We are currently working with the legislature and others to minimize the impact on the 2022 elections. The U.S. Census Bureau continues to update us about the expected availability of census data. We will adjust our timeline as needed. The California Supreme Court has ruled that the Commission has until December 15th of 2021 to submit its maps to the California Secretary of State due to the delay in release of census results. The Commission's deadline will be further adjusted depending on when census data is received. Because we want to engage the public in the redistricting process, we are conducting educational sessions like today's prior to going out for public input. Thank you for watching the California Redistricting virtual presentation. If you have any questions, please visit our website at wedrawthelineca.org.